How's everybody? Everybody doing all right? All right. So what I got here is just a person from that game, The Last of Us. And all I did was basically just do like a slight, you know, motion, just something, just so it's moving. You know, I thought about doing something like, having the hands come out like, like they're clapping and stuff, but you see that, right? I didn't feel like fixing that. So I didn't bother trying to do anything else with like, any big movements or anything, but I guess I could have done something like that, but look at it. But there are going to be fans on the side of the road. So what I did is I rendered out the frames at 512 by 512. And it's like 20 something frames, but they're going to go into a 32 frame um, film strip. We're not going to use all 32. We don't need that many. So what I did is I rendered them in Blender. And so what we get is just individual frames, that pretty much are the motion. And what we got to do now is just go into Blender and make a box to put it on. So in Blender, I just make a new one, I guess. And we'll just use the crate that's here when you start. Since it's a 1:1 ratio, we can put that image right there in the middle. But we'll want to scale it at least to get to close to the size that of a person. So we'll do that in a minute. So we just need to put a material on it. Now, I say if it's easier for y'all to do you just recycling another mod, that's fine. I do it all the time. I'll probably do it here too. And if you get this, then you can use this and recycle it and be whatever you want it to be. It's just quicker than having to redo everything all the time. So we're going to name the material, just going to name it Ellie. I know that's probably not spelled right, but yeah, all right. Image texture, open, and then put the image that you. Oh, I didn't explain that, did I? So I went into photo editor, and I went into GIMP, and I told it to configure grid. I always forget where the hell that's at. Configure grid, and I told it that the grid size is 512 by 512. That's all I had to put. And then I told it to in view, I think it's in view, not view, or is it view? Yeah, view snap to grid, snap to guides. I always keep that on too. And show grid. Those are important. If you don't see the grid, it makes it harder to put them in the right place. Now I had to add another layer just so I could see the grid. And you'll see what I'm saying here in a second. It's not too hard to do. So the easiest way to do it, without having to load up all them pictures on different images and whatnot, the easiest thing to do is I'll just hide that for a minute. Keep in mind too, this background is still transparent. I'll just have it back there behind the first layer with the grid so we can see the grid. So we go to the images we're rendered. And we'll load the first one into there. It was actually more frames than it was more than 20 frames. It was 40 frames, but I told it to skip every other frame. So the frame numbering is not going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So the first one here, I'll just load it on into here. Now that this one's loaded, I can simply select the rest of them and drag and drop them into here. And hopefully you did it so you're not backwards like me. I got some in one place and some in the other. Just have to make sure you stick with the right one, but it's best if you can load it where they all are in a chronological order. But you know how to count, so start with 1 by selecting it and picking the move tool and just move it. And then go to 2, well, in this case 3, 5, 7, 9, and I did this up until I run out. To run out around 20. So what I did when I got to 20 is I went, I put that one there and the next one here, kind of make it work its way backwards. But then you don't have to do that. Do it like this. This will be easier. You'll confuse the shit out of people. Just do it like this. When you run out of, say this is number 31, 39 is the last one. Say we're at 39 here and we still got all these slots open. Well, then you can just duplicate 39 all the way up until the end. But what that's going to do is after the animation stops, there'll be a slight pause before it starts over. So it doesn't look as much as like a loop because it stops for a second, So you can do that. And then what you're going to do is delete that last layer, the one that's the white layer. And you're going to combine it, flatten it all into one image. And that's when you end up with a picture that's just one long image of all these frames. Now when you get it in here and you tell it to show you the texture mode, you're going to see it's going to be kind of weird looking. It's because the UV mapping for this box is not for that long image. That image is 16384 by 512. So if we go to the UV editor and look at it, I'm going to see right now that that box is stretched all kinds of funny ways. We need to just go to UVs and unwrap and cube projection. What that did is it made a perfect box that fits that perfectly. We'll tell it to hold Z down, tell it to show us the material preview. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that box and move it all the way to the end by hitting A to select it and moving it all the way to the end. But then we're going to get real close to it and make sure it's as close to perfectly in there as possible. You can always keep zooming in. You'd be surprised how much something is not lined up when you think it's lined up. But that's probably good enough. Well, look at that. See? You never can tell. Now the other parts of this box, you don't want it to show that. So what you do is you pick a box, picking a polygon, and you'll just shrink this one to an area that's got nothing. Actually, I have a different idea for this, but since we're making it a Jbeam, it probably won't work that good. What I was going to say is you can even better optimize this by cutting it with a knife, cutting the polygons into it so it's a better outline of what you got here. Don't go too close, or when she wiggles out of the way or moves, from moving, because she is moving, you don't want it to cut her off completely. But I don't think we need that much. It's I wasted all that time but doing them damn boxes because I still end up not using any of them. I don't know what I'm thinking, folks. I'm just not thinking, I guess. Damn it. Press E, and then the axis you're wanting to go, which is X in this case, since it's red, I want to go that direction. So I'm making like a kind of like a frozen in carbonite kind of looking thing, you know. And if you saw something on the side there, you know, you just go to the UV editor and you would just basically tell it to unwrap it. Unwrap that one. After you apply all transforms, of course. Oh, I damn didn't press it right. I forgot this new blender, you don't just go to unwrap, you got to go and pick a type of unwrap. That's why I didn't unwrap it. But you still need to do the apply all transforms or it's not going to unwrap it proportionally. See, that's what I meant. If you get something like that and you don't want that, you just make it and put it in a spot. There ain't no animation or nothing going on. Now I know I'm going to make this a J-beam, and rather than have to do it later, I can just do it here now. I can make a stand for this so it doesn't fall over. And I'll show you it's not hard to do. What you'll do is you'll put it on the ground where the ground would be, and you'll go into edit mode and you'll pick the vertices at the edges here, like these. I'll pick these like this and I'll hit Shift D to duplicate, and then I'll hit SX to scale along that axis. And we basically made a stand for it. How much of a stand do you need? Well, that depends. You know, if you got it on a flat surface, and you shouldn't need much at all. But you know, it's very rare you find a place that's flat, so everything's kind of leaning a little bit. And then what I do is I pick the top here, and I pick the bottom there, the two vertices, and hit F. Now it's not making a polygon, but it is making a beam, which is basically what makes up the stuff. You got nodes, you got beams, and you got triangles. And you won't collide with the beams, you'll collide with the triangle, so those will be fine. Let's see, I think that's pretty much it. We need to apply all transforms so that the origin's set. And we need to put something in here to give us a scale. Now you can scale it later, but it's just easier to do it now. Because if you scale the J-beam, you got to scale the DAE along with it, or your collisions won't be right. So I have this little car that I use for scale from the game. And that's pretty close. I think she's a little too tall though. Probably about there maybe. Now since I did scale it, apply all transforms. Oh, you gotta pick it. No, it's applied. See that little red candy cane down there? It comes together where the red and the green and the blue all come together. And that's, you go to this little tab here and you tell it to, in view, you got the 3D cursor. It needs to be at 0 when you do it. So when you apply it, it thinks it's applying it to the center of the world right there. And in Beam, it'll be in the right place. If it's off here, and it'll be off in Beam. But it's kind of like maybe the programs don't talk to one another really, but they all know where home is, and that's the home for the 3D cursor. They all recognize 0, 0, 0 as like universally 0, 0, 0. All right, now I need to name it. I'm gonna call it Ellie. Make sure that the texture is also similar, so I don't forget what it is. And then we need to save our Blender file. Now I'm going to save the Blender file in the existing mod that I've already made. Export DAE. Oh, look at me, I'm telling y'all bad habits already. Check your face orientation. See, it's good that I checked because they're inside out. What that means is the object will be invisible, or it'll be very dark if it's double-sided. You'll see it. The back side, which is the inside. Just go to edit mode and pick the faces that need to be flipped, the red ones. Mesh, normals, flip. Oh, look at that. There we go. That's how we want it. Now, export DAE. And that's the only thing here, so we don't have to worry about picking selection only. We don't have any modifiers to apply, so we don't have to go into geometry and tell it to apply to modifiers in the viewport. All we have to do is pick where it's going. So in this case, it's going to the vehicles folder that's in the user folder. And fans, where the other mod is of the fans clapping, we're going to put it in here. Just name it Ellie, whatever. And remember how you spelled that with caps or not. You're about to need that. So export Kaleida. Now you're going to export to Jbeam. You got to have the Jbeam plugin installed, which I shared on other videos. Export Jbeam Ellie. Now I didn't give it a node prefix because that's the only thing going. I ain't worrying about it. But normally, if you got multiple things you're making, you go into here, the green triangle, and you tell it the nodes. You give it a prefix letter. Say that's letter N. I'll just make it a letter E for Ellie, so you'll see where that goes. Export Jbeam, but you have to have saved the Blender file first for it to export to Jbeam. But once you've saved it, that's where it sends to Jbeam. So export Jbeam and off it goes. At the bottom it'll tell you if it exported correctly. Sometimes you'll get an error that says could not export something. This has n-gons. N-gon's a polygon with more than 4 sides. So what you'd have to do is go into edit mode if that is the case. Pick A to select all, and then go to face, triangulate faces, and then re-export it. It'll work. The only other error you'll get is it'll say you must save the Blender file first. That's if you forgot to save. So now that it's out, we can go to the folder for that mod of those clapping fans. And you'll see the Jbeam exported folder here. What did I name it? I guess I named it Jbeam. It's today the 6th. Is that today? Oh, what damn. Oh, it should be just called Ellie. Oh, I must be in the wrong. No, I'm not in the wrong place. I might have sent it to the wrong place, though. Save as. Oh, yeah, look at that. I sent it to the desktop. Yeah, so send it to the right place. Save your Blender file in the right place, I mean. So when you export to Jbeam, it goes to the right place. See, there she is. I forgot I had a folder on the desktop. So that's her Jbeam. She ain't much but just a box and a little stand, so it doesn't make many nodes. There's not many beams or many triangles that make that up, but we got to get them off of here because these are not complete. They need other things. The game needs, you need to tell it what the name of the model is. It's called the flex body. If you don't name it, tell it what it is, it ain't gonna know what the hell to associate those nodes and beams and triangles to go to. So that's where you get from your other mod that you're recycling, since it's already filled out for the most part. And I share a blank one, so if you don't have it, get it. Or recycle this one. It's up to you. Fans, Jbeam. So in here, you just skip all the way on down to the nodes. We're going to have to replace these nodes with the other nodes, but we need to put the name of that flex body that I just told you about right there, and then assign a group name for it. I'll just use letter E. So we come down here. This is the weight and all that stuff. Node material. Whether it's anchored or not. The friction it's got with the ground. Come down here to group and put that letter there that you put. You can spell out something if you want to. It's up to you. The nodes that you see here now are from the old thing. Leave the reference nodes for the time being. And then go to her. Move her to here. So you can drag and drop. You're going to put those nodes right to E. And then you're going to go down to the beam section. And do the same thing. Replace the beams from the other mod with the beams from this one. And then lastly, I'll add some extra stuff in there. Hold on. Go down here to the triangles. We're not using the hydros. Well, that means ignore it. Those two lines. See, ignore all that. Well, if I gotta do that, I gotta do that one too. Got two brackets like that, but nothing in between them. It ain't gonna load. It ain't got very much tolerance for one typo in here. That's for sure. Like all programming codes like that, ain't it? Like you can't have nothing off. You can't even have like a damn out here. You can't even just have like you accidentally hit something and it's there. It won't load. Maybe one day AI will be better enough it can kind of assume what you wanted to do and fix stuff like that. So that's that. It should load now. The only other thing is the material, since the material is already made for this previous mod, and it's called Ring of Fire. I don't know why the hell it's called that, but it needs just to be named of the new one, the new texture, and it goes in those three spots. Normally the game will make that first texture for you, but if there's already material file in here, it's not going to add it to it. So you got to either manually do it or start over. Color map. What is the color map title? What did I name the actual image? le.dds. You don't have to put the DDS, you just put le. And you don't have to put where it goes, where the file is located either. They're about to depreciate that anyway soon, so you won't have any dependencies on where things are located. They're going to eventually get to that. That's something in the works. And it's been warning about it for a while in the console. So we should be able to load her up now in the level. I think the weight was like 3. Whatever the measurement is for the weight. Is it kilogram? I think it is. Each node weighs whatever it says. Whatever you put here. 3.35. And yeah, so I guess that's kilograms. We don't know. We don't use that here. We use a damn universal. We don't use a metric. We use pounds, ounces, liters. Or no, we don't use liters. What do we use? Gallons. Yeah, we use liters. y'all use, I don't even know what y'all use for liquids. I think like Coke's got, we call like a Coke a 2 liter bottle or 20 ounce bottle. That wind's blowing too much, ain't it? Look at the damn exhaust for that truck. That's, shit, look at that. They're blowing too much. And see, this was the other Ellie that I made. She's just a 3D model. She's the same model that was animated in Blender, but I did vertex shading on it to blow with the wind like the wind from the game, but it's not working for some reason. I was gonna try and see what would happen if you vertex painted the hair. The wind would blow it, or the jacket, but it didn't work for some reason. I got tired of fooling with it. There she is. Now we got animator. The timing is important that you set for the animation. It's going to be for 512 by 16384. That's the resolution. I don't know if I made that clear. The resolution you got to make for this is either 256 by 8192, 256 by 16384, 512 by 8192, or 512 by 16384. So this is 512 by 16384. And when I did save it, when I exported it as a DDS, I picked BC3 compression since it's got transparency. Now in the animation tab, you'll see sequence. Put how many frames per second it's going to animate. Just keep in mind, the more frames per second something animates, the quicker it'll start to degrade. They got something wrong with this type of animation where it just starts to degrade over time for some reason. It's probably why not people use it much. But it does a lot better if you're not telling it to do too many frames per second. But if you want it to look smooth, move it up. If you want it to look better, move it down. The timing for that's 03125, I believe. 0.03125. That's animating damn nice, ain't it? I ain't ever seen something animate so good in my life. That happens sometimes. Just save the material. You hit animate on it. Just reload the level. Save the level. Reload the level. It's just another one of the little crazy bugs. There's a workaround around it. And that's the workaround. Reload the level. It happens more on animated DAEs that are used for JBeams. Used with JBeams. I don't know why. Happens with the decals too. You end up having to just basically, if it happens when you're making a decal that's animated, you just have to click one of the nodes and move the decal and it'll start to do right. Oh, I guess I got a spawner back in. She ain't animating now. What is going on with that? I'm wondering if that damn texture's also called Ellie for them. I got a conflict of interest. No. Yeah. No, I spelled that one right. That one is spelled right, I think. Hey, it's not animated now. I did hit save, I thought. I don't know, I might not have. I might not have. Let's do it again. Save. Now I'm gonna double check, make sure it did save it in there. Yep. Ah, so here's the problem. The game is another one of those little bugs it's got. Sometimes, even though we opted to manually write in that, the game still made a damn texture. Even though we didn't want it to, took it upon itself. So which one do you think it loaded? It loaded that one. Sometimes it'll load that one. But you can't have two of them. That was the problem. That happens a bit often too. I don't know why it does it sometimes, not other times, but that's what was going on with that. So now we'll just reload again or respawn it. Should be able to just respawn it. Might have to reload it. There she goes. Look at her move. Kind of looks like she's doing something dirty. Stinking Joel is what it is. Or not Joel. What's that girl's name in the game? The ugly one with the ugly big arms. Abby. Abby, that's it. Well, she ain't so ugly. She just looks kind of manly. Kind of beefy looking. Well, she can punch like hell, though. Oh, that Last of Us Part 2. So go down to what you'll see down in here. You'll see alpha clip. Turn on the alpha clip. And that will get rid of the background. If you're using non-PBR. If you end up deciding to use PBR, you need to make a background that's solid black. And where she's at has to be solid white. In case anybody actually is wanting to do that. I can let me show you what to do. You basically make the background black. You gotta make sure your damn color is black back there. Tell it just to add new layer and tell it to be the background color. Then you gotta put her on top of that. Deleted the wrong one. I don't know why this thing does that. Makes you have to go up here to move a layer. It's stupid. I don't know why it started doing that either. It didn't used to do that. Used to you just move it and drag it and drop it. Not anymore. Now her layer that she's on, this layer that she is actually on, need to make that solid white. I'll just use go up to exposure and run the exposure up all the way. Most of the time that'll do it. And then flatten the image and save that as your opacity map. You can do BC1 compression since it doesn't have transparency, it's just black and white. Generate bitmaps always. And then in here, tell it to switch to PBR. You won't see it actually do anything until you change something. Then you'll see it take over If you go down there to the alpha clip, you'll see now that it does nothing. That's why I said you have to have an opacity map now. And then you can pick it, and it'll do the same thing as it used to do. Except colors are different. Colors are different when it comes to uh, PBR. Best thing I can do to make it as close as how it did look is I'll sometimes duplicate it and put it in the base material, but I'll only do like 0.1% or 0.2, and then put that also in the ambient occlusion, and then you get kind of close. Now we don't actually need alpha clip much, not nearly as much. So you'll just adjust it till it looks good for you. PBR's got other advantages you can do that the other one don't. I mean, you got metallic in here, and you got roughness that works a little better. But it is a flat box. You're not probably going to get much out of that. I personally don't think we need it. I just rather not use it. I just stick to how it was. I don't know. I don't remember what it looked like. I guess you got kind of close to that. All right, let's make a few of her. I guess my stand held up pretty good, didn't it? All right, let's run into her. I like that blue one. I like that skin. I like it better than the one that was on there. Something we could try to do here is the texture that makes that girl. We can go into here and just do a basic generic normal map. I'll tell it sometimes I'll mess around and try like the full Z range. to make it have more depth, but sometimes it makes it look bad. You just have to kind of decide how much you want it to have and just try it. And if it don't look good, try it the other way. Now, if we're exporting this as a DDS, it's a normal map, we got to pick BC5 compression type. Generate mint maps. And it'll look yellow in the game, but it's because BC5 it only uses 2 colors, and then the game adds the blue color in the game. Now I gotta do one with less than that just to have a couple different to try. Maybe do one high pass filter also. That'll be the detail map. And then you can adjust the amount of contrast or how thick the lines are. But don't go crazy with it, because it multiplies what's already there. That'll also be BC1. I'll put D for detail, or HP rather, for high pass filter. High pass filters are usually detail maps, or work good as detail maps sometimes. Now we do another. This one I won't do as much. That's a little much, ain't it? Yeah, that's not too bad. If you use a detail map, change the scale to 1:1 if you use it this way. Huh, what the hell happened with that? That's kind of crazy there. I don't know why I did that. No idea. Oh, anisotropic filtering is also off. Yeah, it's acting like it's got lerp alpha on, and it doesn't. Huh. I've never seen that before. No idea. Oh well, don't use it. That don't look right though. I don't know. Just don't use it. You can also put the detail map, the normal map, in the detailed normal map if you got the scaling 1:1, and then you got more of an option to add more to it if you wanted to try it with more. That's pretty much it, folks. I thought it'd be really funny if like we made a lot of these people like this for fans, different fans. But if we loaded a train and put them all on the train, if y'all haven't ever look at commuter trains in India, and you'll see like 300 people on the outside of the train, all hanging on. I just thought in the game, what if you had them all like that, and then a train wrecks? People be doing like flying everywhere. I don't know if that would be considered insensitive or not. I think it'd be funny, but I don't know. I don't. That may be in poor taste. Y'all let me know. But it's something I considered doing. So I thought, man, we could put everybody on the train. I could put myself on there and anybody else that wants to be on it. Now I rendered this animation. You can just as well take your video camera and record you doing the same thing. Just make it less than 32 frames. You can make the thing longer than that. Just you have to posterize the time or do skip frames rather. You want to get them all into you want to get them all into the 32 frame window. Now, if you want to do 64 frames, you can do 256 by 16384, and that'll give you 64 frames, or you can do 128 by 16384, and that'll give you 128 frames. But it's time consuming. I don't have my tornado installed.